Welcome to the State of the Nation Weekly Update, brought to you by Pace Car Rental. If you want to hire a car, go to the Pace Car Rental website, use the code SONA, and get a discount on your next car hire. Support them because they support us, and you can support us by subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. So, if you wanted an answer to the question of just how out of touch are our politicians, or can you possibly be, let's just watch a recent interview that was done by the chairman, the national chairman of the African National Congress, and our Minister of Mineral and Petroleum Resources, Gwede Mantashe, recently on the SABC. Let's watch what he had to say.
Over 70. I've never had a government looking for a job for me. You know that? Never. I went to Teba, I took a contract, went to the mines, worked as a miner, went back home, bought cattle, bought sheep, went back to the mines, and I did that. The difference is that today, because there's a progressive government, people expect that government to go and give them jobs. They don't look for jobs. And that must change. I'm sure to be here in SABC yourself, you look for an advert, you applied, you got into SABC. Not the SAB looking for you. You looked for a job and you got employed. And people must begin to appreciate that you do queue up for a job, you get employed, adverts are not going to employ you. You will have to look for the advert and apply in real terms. If you don't do that, you're not going to be employed. And I'm going back to the point I made. Let's move out of being a passive society to be an active society.
Now, this interview has caused an absolute outrage, and it shows just how unbelievable, how out of touch the views are of politicians like Gwede Mantashe. This is a man who lives in a taxpayer-funded bubble. He hasn't been in the job market since Nelson Mandela walked out of jail in 1990. Somehow, magically, on the 25th of every month, massive sums of money just land into his bank account. And as we know from the Zondo Commission, if he needs security upgrades at one of his properties, some of his benefactors will just do it. He doesn't even get to see the bill. They just do it. He just comes home to this whole grand, many multi-100,000 rand system. Right? So here's the guy who hasn't been in the job market for all of these years. Now, he just thinks he understands the struggle that most unemployed young South Africans have to go through to just try and get a job. In the same interview, he defends black economic empowerment. He accuses anybody who doesn't want BEE as being a white supremacist. Right? But now let's understand what he believes black economic empowerment to be. Let's start off with somebody fairly close to him, and that is his wife, Milwanda Mantashe. She just happens to be a director and chairperson of a mining company, as well as an oil company. Pretty convenient when your husband's the Minister of Mining and Mineral Resources. Do you suppose she just happens to be gifted at running mines and oil companies? This is a person who started her professional career working as a superintendent of HR, human resources. Now she runs a mining company. When that kind of thing happens, is that your idea of BEE, that somebody just can shoot straight out of HR and suddenly run a mining company? Or do you think they got a very big contract somewhere? If that was the way BEE was meant to work, and it happened to all of us, we'd all support it. But we've got to understand that this is why Gwede Mantashe thinks it's a good idea. Let's have a look at his own son, his 34-year-old son, Buyambo Mantashe. He recently made news last year when he was out of the blue, appointed as chairman of the board of Merseta. Now, these SETAs have been a bane of our lives in South Africa. They take money from companies and take your money off your payroll, and this is meant to go through training. But what we've seen is that it's become the trough from which the comrades steal. Now, he was made chairman of the board of Merseta by the disgraced and now fired former Minister of Higher Education, Nobuhle Nkabani. Remember her, the gum-chewing specialist? And this decision caused so much outrage that it was rescinded because of the public outcry. But it didn't stop them from deciding that of all the 34-year-old qualified people in South Africa, it must be Gwede Mantashe's son that must get that position. But in fact, this young man seems to have the knack of finding his way onto boards of companies. Now, I'm sure he got onto the boards of all these companies because he is so good at his job. He's such a hard worker. I'm sure everything is not due to his father's political position, but because of his own skill. I'm sure he's invented some great solutions to life's great problems. But I do suspect that he got there because of his political patronage. And I presume that people came looking for him for those positions, not him going to look for those positions. I don't think he sent his CV out to all these boards saying, please select me as the chairman of your board. No. But yet his father is telling young South Africans, what's wrong with you? Get out there and find a job. You know, it seems like senior members of the ANC are uniquely gifted in giving birth to business prodigies. We remember our Deputy President, Paul Mashatile, explaining to us how these two mansions that he lives in, one in Waterfall City in Johannesburg, the other in the leafy southern suburbs of Cape Town, together valued at more than 70 million rand, were actually owned by his sons. And he admitted that, I don't know what line of businesses they're in, but they just, in a matter of a few years, managed to go from young graduates to being able to buy houses that they don't even live in, valued at, over 70 million rand. Yeah, I don't know how these people expect us to understand that the children of the Deputy President had conquered entrepreneurship 1.0, and I presume they're now about to upgrade to entrepreneurship 2.0. The point I'm trying to get to is that our politicians do not begin to understand the struggles of South Africans that go out there and cannot find a job, while their children can literally decide tomorrow that I'm going to be in mining or SETAs or something and get the top spot. We saw the same thing with the children and nephews of Jacob Zuma, as well as the Ramaphosa family. Okay, his son doesn't seem to be so good at business, but my word, Cyril Ramaphosa has been great at business. He can even sell cattle and get the money for that and never have to deliver the cattle. Now, what a good business is that? Right? These people really understand how to run a business, but I don't think they understand the struggle that young South Africans have to go through in the same job market. With the entrepreneurial talent that the ANC produces, it's hard to understand why the South African economy isn't the best economy in the world, why we don't have economic growth of 10%. Instead, having no growth and unemployment of more than a third of our country at least. If this BE were so good at solving our economic problems, we wouldn't have these kind of terrible numbers. We'd be making so much money we wouldn't know where to put it. We'd have sovereign wealth. We wouldn't need sovereign wealth funds because all of us would be wealthy. But instead, we've got an economy that doesn't grow. And dinosaurs like Gwede Mantashe will make these kind of statements. And the biggest fear is that he may honestly believe what he says, right? Ever since this interview, talk shows, the phone lines on talk shows have been jammed with young South Africans saying how hard they've tried to get a job. Graduates who can't get employed, people with doctors that can't get placed at government hospitals. And he is saying that the problem's you haven't tried hard enough to get this job. He has to explain how when he was a young guy, he could hustle and go get a job here and a job there. Well, what are you talking about when you say that, Gwede Mantashe? You are talking about apartheid South Africa, right? Where you could go and find a job. It's an unbelievable indictment on your own government when you're saying, well, when I was young, I would go and then I'd decide to mine and then I'd go and get goats and cattle and I'd trade here and I'd do that. That was in the country where you could do that. In so many ways, and I don't think he's even heard himself, he is saying that in the South Africa under his government, you can't go and get that job. He's almost admitting it. If he's saying he used to be able to do it, but you can't do it now. He's imagining that you can just do it now. Well, you can't, because we've got no economy to speak of. Now, we've got to understand that in the past 30 years, the ANC has done everything in their power to kill off this economy. And it's not hard to know what would end our economic nightmare. I'm going to say it again. We choose to be poor. This country is a very rich country. We should be wealthy and right up there in the top levels of countries, but we choose to be poor by choosing the wrong people and the wrong policies that they chose. The ANC themselves are the reason that I say this, because for one brief moment in their 30-year nightmare, they ran the country semi-properly and growth exploded in the country. And this was, of course, when they introduced the much maligned gear policies in the late 1990s and into the 2000s. This introduced high economic growth with a few basic common sense policies. So let's go back. What was it that Gear promised and delivered? Fiscal restraint. They said the government will do its bit by not spending too much. They're going to reduce budget deficits and government debt. They reduced the deficit altogether. We had almost wiped out our debt. So the government was doing their part. They said monetary stability. They'll maintain consistent, stable monetary policy to control inflation. And to be fair, that is still done to this day. So that is a remnant, the one thing that we are still doing. The fiscal restraint, to hell with that, we've just borrowed money. We now spend, listen to this, more than 1 billion rand every day paying interest. Paying interest, not paying back debt, paying interest on our debt. 1 billion rand every single day. That is one national dialogue every day that we spend paying just the interest rate. So fiscal restraints out of the window, monetary stability we've still got. The next part of Gear was trade liberalization, lowering tariffs and opening South Africa to global trade. They made South Africa a destination for global investment, and it worked. They were welcoming to foreign money, and foreign money came in, which allowed us to grow the economy. Number 4, deregulation and privatization. They wanted to reduce state involvement in the economy. It was fabulously successful. Dinosaur companies that weren't working, like Telkom, let's remember how bad Telkom were, struggling to make money, costing the taxpayer money, were privatized. Let other people sit with Telkom and fix it up, which they subsequently did by adopting more modern policies, but that's the private sector at work, right? And the government stopped running business. In other words, had they gone on and privatized other things, perhaps we wouldn't have had to bail out SAA and SABC and Eskom and all these other companies that we've had to bail out, right? Instead, the government retained ownership of these things, and it's cost us a fortune and cost our economy. They introduced labor market flexibility. They made it easier to bargain, to employ, hire and fire, an integral part of a market system. It worked. And then they promoted investment using tax incentives and infrastructure to spur private investment. You know, if you offer people the chance to make money, they're going to chew your arm off to take that opportunity, and it did work. South Africa benefited by growing up to 5% per annum. We were adding over 500,000 jobs every year. In other words, it wouldn't have taken long for us to have wiped out unemployment. And it was this point that the very same Gwede Mantashe was Secretary General of the ANC, and he thought it was a brilliant idea, and he spearheaded the campaign to make Jacob Zuma the next president and reverse all of those policies I've just spoken about. And after that, South Africa has done everything in its power to kill off what was remaining of the economy. Started with the state capture project. Right, that was the hallmark of the Zuma presidency. And then came the business killing laws. Yeah, it gained momentum when Cyril Ramaphosa became president. The crazy laws, expropriation without compensation, apartheid-style employment laws, which has killed off any chance of international investment. Who amongst you, who watching this, would start a factory where you have to employ hundreds or thousands of people? You're not going to do it, not with these laws. And we have got red tape up the wazoo. We have got miles and miles of red tape. We should export red tape, we'd become rich. It has become almost impossible to do business. And then, of course, there's been our wonderful foreign policies. We decided to antagonize all those countries that invest in the country in favor of countries that we don't do any business with. And we expected to do the same amount of business. Well, oddly enough, the same people that we told to go to hell said, thank you, we will. So let's go back to Gwede Mantashe and tell him, and his interview, telling young people that the problem's them. You're not trying hard enough. How disgraceful that this old dinosaur can say that about young South Africans who are just trying to find a job and they cannot. How disgusting that he should hark back to younger days that he fought to end. Quite rightly, South Africa should have benefited. He talks about days where you could get jobs at will. It should be a source of disgrace that you could get a job at will under apartheid, but you can't get a job now in the new South Africa. And he's made it impossible for young people to get onto the first step of the ladder unless they happen to have parents who are senior members of the ANC. We can only hope and pray that this kind of outrage, this kind of super revealing interview tells young South Africans, it shows young South Africans what we have and what we should avoid. You can't listen to old dinosaurs. You can't allow our policies to be decided by policies that were discredited in the 1960s. Since South Africa last had growth 20 years ago, I can't believe I'm saying that, right? We have done everything in our power to kill off this economy, to deny that there's a whole new world out there, to understand that a country and its leaders should act in the interests of its citizens, not its own ideological history. Right? To those young people that don't have a job and don't understand how to get a job, watch this interview, watch it again and again, and hear what you're hearing. You are hearing an old grandfather talk about when he was young, and he has done nothing since then but stand in your way of getting a job. They have moved at every turn to kill the economy, to make it difficult to start a business, to make it impossible to make profits. They have added legislation and red tape and bureaucracy on top of everything. They want you to take the risk, and they want to live a risk-free life getting your taxes and then to moan at you for it, right? Please understand that when the dinosaurs in your home think that you must vote for an organization like this, they too are stuck in the past. We've got bigger problems in South Africa. We've got an economy that better work, or else we are all going to suffer. Right? We have to get out there and explain to people that you've got, and it's a new world. We need new people who understand our business works. But certainly what Gwede Mantashe did was disgusting, and deserves to be called out in the strongest terms. And I hope that you join me in calling out this person for making those kind of statements. How ignorant are you, Minister Mantashe? That's all from us today. Thank you for joining us on the State of the Nation. Subscribe to the channel. Use Space Car Rental. Pray for South Africa. Thank you very much.